G'day guys, this is Forristicat here. Yeah, it's my first video review I'm going to be doing. Yeah, I was on that Talkback World Facebook thing, and then someone mentioned that if I'm going to see Tintin, I may as well put a video review of it up here, and I totally forgot I have a webcam, so I thought, why the hell not? So yeah, with Tintin, Tintin is one of the very few things that I've sort of got my head around a lot. And when I say got my head around a lot, I mean personally, when I see all the posters on Talkback World, to be honest, I envy some of the knowledge that you guys have, like who directed what movies here, who adapted what particular thing over there, all the ins and outs of the Batman universe or the Superman universe, etc., etc. For me, I'm very much sort of like a passive member of the forum, purely because I don't really know that much about fandom. And so when I'm on the forums, I'm actually learning more than contributing anything. However, Tintin is a little bit different. Tintin is something that I've grown up with since I was young, and I've read every single comic, a couple of them more than once. So when it comes to Tintin, I feel like I definitely had something to say about it when I heard the movie was finally going to come out. Now, basically, what did I like about the movie, and what did I not like about the movie? Well, first of all, the opening sequence was excellent. When I saw all those little frames there of images which I knew were from the comics and that I saw many times before, I thought, this is fantastic. I thought this movie, they're definitely Spielberg and Peter Jackson. They are doing this for the fans. I thought, okay, when Steven Spielberg said he was making Indiana Jones 4 for the fans, that was total crap. So maybe in this case, he's going to come through. Just purely from seeing those sort of, they actually put like images from the comics in the opening sequence of the movie. Now, first of all, I really like the way they opened the movie, which is with a shot of Hergé. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, but the movie actually opens with a shot of Hergé drawing Tintin, and he actually holds up a sign, a picture rather, of Tintin and the way Tintin is drawn in the comics. I thought that was very smart. And then as I was looking around the audience, I thought, okay, I wonder how many people are going to pick up on that little Easter egg there. Okay, so the opening sequence, the start of it was very good. It was pretty much exactly how I remember in that book there. It was pretty much, if you read the actual original, it's pretty much just seeing the comic as on screen. It's pretty much like the comic coming to life, which I thought was fantastic. Okay, so I thought to myself, with this movie, they combined all three. Well, that's the thing. With the Crab with the Golden Claws, that book was the first book that Captain Haddock got introduced in. In this movie, they take elements from the Crab with the Golden Claws and they combine it with these two. These two are meant to be a separate storyline. Now, I realize, being like a family movie, that you're not going to have a storyline where Tintin takes down a bunch of opium smugglers, so I can understand that segment of it. So, as far as that was concerned, I didn't really mind them combining that per se, but I did have some issues with the introduction of Bianca Chiastafiore, which is the Milanese Nightingale. Now, when I heard the Milanese Nightingale, I thought, okay, where have I heard that before? Like, of course, that's Bianca Chiastafiore, the singer that keeps on showing up in the comics. And I felt like she was a little bit out of place showing up in this Crab with the Golden Claws storyline. That whole scene where they're sitting down observing the ship, which is behind the glass, which is about to break, I felt that was out of place, and I did not like that very much. Especially the part where Tintin spies like the never break glass that was originally from the book The Calculus Affair. Secondly, I did not like the fact that Professor Calculus was not introduced in this movie. I thought if you're going to introduce someone as random as Bianca, the Milanese Nightingale, then Professor Calculus should definitely warrant a cameo or a mention. And so I thought, okay, he definitely was missing out on that. What I did like, was as much as like these little things were sort of nagging at the back of my head, like, okay, they combine the storyline here, I can understand them trying to condense all these three books together, that's fine. But the other things aside that were distracting me throughout the movie, I did enjoy the fact that everything looked like the way it looked in the comics. I mean, it was literally like seeing the comics on screen. What else did I like about? Well, since this is not a spoiler-free review, I definitely did not like the way they ended the movie. I'm just going to grab a drink here. Now, this being sort of a treasure hunter sort of movie, I thought to myself, okay. I looked at my watch and I thought, okay, this movie is going to end soon. So when they're going to put the treasure hunt in it, and in the original material, there was a whole book dedicated to a treasure hunt. This whole book is a treasure hunt. Now, what they did was they took material from here and here, and then instead of building up to here and using that as part of the Tintin movie, it goes back to that they skip everything here and skip straight to the end. And the point of the third book, Red Rackham's Treasure, when they find the treasure in Marlinspike Hall, the whole point of it was that we've gone sailing the seven seas, we've gone through all this crap, and it was under Marlinspike Hall all along. And you see, when Captain Haddock in the Tintin movie said, we've gone through all this stuff and it was right here under our very noses, I'm like, you don't deserve to say that line, because you can't just ignore everything that happened in this book and then substitute that same line in there and expect the audience to sort of have that same, oh yeah, of course you've been through a lot. So the ending definitely, I did not enjoy it, especially since, unless I'm mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like the second Tintin set of stories, the movies, is going to be Red Rackham's Treasure. I thought, okay, why did Tintin mention at the end of this movie that, if you want to, how's your thirst for adventure unquenchable, there's something hidden at the bottom of the sea. I thought, hold on a sec, guys, this is meant to be the Secret of the Unicorn. That's these two stories combined. So why would they sort of take elements from this and shove it to the side and make it a part of the second movie? That just doesn't make any sense to me. If anything, the next set of movies should definitely introduce Professor Calculus and should include the Prisoners of the Sun and the Seven Crystal Balls, because that has a really, really strong storyline. I was thinking about Explorers on the Moon, but that would be very bizarre given the technological advances. It would be very sort of a skewed sort of movie. What did I like? I liked Tintin and Snowy just running along. I liked the comic bookness of the film in general. I especially like the part where the old lady, Mrs. Finch, sort of gets, or maybe not Mrs. Finch, someone got knocked over, and you see little canary birds above her head, and you think, okay, that's purely a comic book thing, and then later on you see another cameo by Hergé collecting the birds, and it's actually physical canaries or something like that, and he's collecting the birds to put back in a cage. I thought that was very cool. What else did I like about it? It definitely, as others have mentioned, it definitely felt like we were in for the ride. There was always something happening. It definitely sort of brought the kidness, the child out in me, and hopefully everyone else in the theatre. It was a very simplistic plot, but that's what makes for a good childhood tale. You don't have to get bogged down in all the details. It's like the bad versus good, race for the treasure against the bad guys, that sort of thing. Something I picked up in the movie, which actually, even though I consider myself to be a pretty big Tintin fan, I didn't draw the parallels in the comic, and again, this might be just my oversight. But I didn't, unless they sort of wrote that into the movie. The way they wrote the movie was that Mr. Saccharine, the collector of the evil guy with the crane, he he is meant to be a descendant of Red Rackham. Now I can't remember if that was actually drawn in the comics or not, but the way they set it up was Haddock and Mr. Saccharine are sort of finding it out the way that Captain Haddock, pardon me, and Red Rackham did back in the day. And that's another part I think they did really well. In the Secret of the Unicorn, there's a scene where Captain Haddock is giving a flashback of his time on the ship, and it's sort of, as he's telling the tale, the things he's doing in real life sort of gel with the flashback. So then he's talking about Captain Haddock finding Red Rackham, and then all of a sudden, like, this thing falls on his head. Then the next page of the comic shows like Captain Haddock with Tintin, and something fell on his head as well. So I did appreciate that they understood that that's the dynamic that was going on in the comic, and that sort of came through in the actual movie. So what do I give this movie out of 10? Let me think about this. That's another part I didn't like about the movie, which I just remembered. It felt like, I understand like epic moments in movies, but epic moments in movies should sort of arise more than try to be forced. If they try to be forced, it usually never works. And there was an epic moment that I almost missed, and I thought it was pretty good. I can understand what Steven Spielberg was trying to do, where Tintin and Haddock are sort of talking to each other, and they say something like, Captain Haddock says, I've always been sort of like a drunkard or a good for nobody, but a failure. But the thing with failures is you've got to get back up, get back on your feet, and keep on breaking through the wall or something like that. And then like when Haddock and Tintin were sort of looking at each other, I thought, geez, what is he going for in this movie? Like, is it really trying to take it to the next level sort of thing? I thought that's okay, fair enough, that's pretty impressive. But then later on, when that metaphor gets applied to breaking through the wall in Marlin Spike Hall, I thought, okay, that was a little bit forced, a little bit too cheesy, so I did not really enjoy it that much. Another thing with Marlin Spike Hall is, in the comics, Marlin Spike Hall is a sort of very non-spooky place. When you first see it, it's very bright, it's very long, it's very elegant. And in the movies, they portrayed it as a haunted house, and that to me should not have been. That to me should have been like a nice, bright place. Another really good thing I like about the movies is that characters you only see for a little while in the comic books. For example, Mrs. Finch, which I mentioned before. Also, Mr. Barnaby. Of course, Mrs. Saccharine. Thompson and Thompson were done especially well, and especially Alan, which is the first mate of Captain Haddock, who sort of forces him to drink to sort of manipulate him. I mean, his face in the comics, it's a very simple drawing in the comics, but somehow the way they've animated Alan is sort of like, I can't believe that his face is sort of the detailed version of what you see in the comics. So I thought that was fantastic as well. But all said and done, I mean, the opening sequence was excellent. When I saw that, I definitely, was getting my Tintin, nerves in a bunch, just sort of thinking, damn, this is really going to be as good as I think it is. Unfortunately, the Bianca sequence mixing in with the Sheik, which is a sort of very integral to the Crab with the Golden Claws storyline. Having remembered that guy that Bianca was singing for in the movie was actually a drug runner, and even though they did have that sort of the golden Crab with the Golden Claws pendant, it detracted from me a little bit. And so I guess that's the thing why, maybe why, to go off topic, Batman fans are sort of crying about this, that, and the other. And that's the thing, like, if you're a general fan, you're not going to care about this stuff. But if you've been reading these comics or anything in fandom for as long as, quote unquote, us true fans have, for whatever medium or whatever character that might be, it definitely does jar the experience for us. And if we're to devote something as much as we do into whatever medium it is, and then have some sort of portrayal of it which is different and skewed to what we originally read as a child or for a very, very long time, for want of a better word, it's going to insult our intelligence a little bit. And it definitely felt like, even though it was a great movie, a little bit rushed in terms of the ending. The combination of the three, I can understand what they were trying to do, but I still felt like they should have separated some elements out, especially the drug runner in the Crab with the Golden Claws. I felt like that definitely should have been left behind a little bit, and in terms of just getting Captain Haddock in the storyline, that was fine, but I think that took it a little bit too far. But overall, I'd have to give this movie 7.5 out of 10. The animation was fantastic. It definitely was, like I said, like a childhood sort of thing coming to life, and I never thought that they would make a movie like this, but they did. Overall, they needed to definitely go on the treasure hunt. To me, not having like this scene, like for example, Professor Calculus's fake shark ship in the movie, that was just a waste. I mean, The Secret of the Unicorn was very much about the mystery of the treasure as opposed to the treasure hunt, and a lot of the point of the story is they were going around in circles when the treasure was right under the very nose. And that whole sort of dynamic or twist of the story, they tried to shove it in this movie, but you can't do it because the point is they didn't waste it all the time that they did in this book, and that sort of got segmented out from the movie. So overall, definitely not the worst adaptation ever, but for us hardcore Tintin fans, we still, as far as I'm concerned, left the theatre a little bit empty, so I'm going to have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. The animation was fantastic. The movie was, the music was great. The opening sequence of the Secret of the Unicorn was great, as was the crab with the golden claws crashing in the desert. The plane sequence as well. Unfortunately, in the middle they got sort of mixed up when they were trying to develop the storyline, and it was a little bit jarring seeing Mr. Saccharine, which is only has a finite role in the Secret of the Unicorn. Sort of seeing him in the crab with golden claws, that confused me a little bit. I still had to sort of adjust my head in that way. But, and especially the ending, not having this whole sequence of Red Rackham's treasure, I think was a mistake, and they should have definitely put that in there somewhere. Having said that, can I say I'm a disappointed Tintin fan? Hell no, I cannot say that. Why? Because, well, they've definitely paid enough tribute to Tintin to make me content. So anyway guys, this is Forristicat signing off. It's my first video review. Forgive me if I'm short of breath and a little bit nervous, because I got to get used to doing these things, because I'd like to put up more video reviews later on. I hope all the Talkbackers had a good Christmas, and I'll see you shortly. Peace.